Online application, one of the things that we've done over the years, and how many of you deal directly with recruiting? Do you get involved, and I know I have many times, drivers asking what does something mean on an application? What do I do here? They're not necessarily the best with administration. What we've done is every step of the way through the application, we identify what does it mean. We have what we call interrogation points. It's a place where the driver can go review, what does this mean, what do I need to input into the system? Making it easier for the driver. So it's simply 1, 2, 3, let's go. We identify the position, bring it into the system, and then the driver, in this case here is Johnny Rocket, and Johnny Rocket is somebody you probably don't want driving your truck. Very clean, very clear, simple for the driver to see. But as you can see up here, the driver can, at any time, if he was concerned about what needs to be done, click on there and a help file will open. All sorts of different questions go on an application. When we were working with, Hicks Morley is who we work with, when we were working with Hicks Morley on how to build a software and how to build something for apps, we presented 10 different applications from different fleets that we do business with. And they quickly identified most of the questions were pretty fine. It wasn't asking the question, but it's when you ask the question is what they identified to us. So one of the innovative things that we've done with TruckRight is give you the control. We've actually invented a 5th page of the application. Most of us have a 4-page application. Would you agree? The personal information, the employment history, the qualifications, and the sign release. Does that sound like a typical application? From there, what we've identified something we call a sensitive information page. And this, again, was working with Hicks Morley, what they suggested, and how to handle it. And with this sensitive information page, you can, in the recruiting process, control when you actually present it to the driver. The system is completely personalized. When the release is presented to the driver, we identify who the fleet is, we identify who we are. One of the other things that Hicks Morley pointed out to us, a lot of applications from our clients said agent, because some people use third parties. And with the privacy, you have to be very transparent to drivers. You have to identify who's getting involved. So the release, we had to identify that we're the service provider and you're the fleet. So very clear to the driver. It was one thing that was quickly identified and that we've got in there. Most people, when they have an online application, the driver goes through the applications, finishes the application, and it sends it off to your recruiting department. What we've done is at the end of the first page, the personal information of the driver, when he reads the terms and conditions and accepts them, and the terms and condition is the signed release. So he accepts it, and instantly your recruiter gets this message. So he hasn't gone on to page 2 yet to do the employment history. He hasn't gone on to page 3. He hasn't gone on to page 4. But you've just been notified that Johnny Rocket is online applying for a driver for regional cross-border. He is or she is an owner-operator. So that notification comes to you, gives you the opportunity to get onto that person now. This controls the sensitive information I talked to you about a moment ago. One of the things that we don't want to be is your legal department. So we built in the back office for you, and you can control this at your will. What goes on your application, what you don't want on your application, or something that you want to present on a sensitive information form. Again, we're not giving you legal advice, so you can put it all right on your application. You can have it not on your application. You can put it on the sensitive information page and present that at a later time. Again, it controls dynamically your application, and you can set this for your driver, you can set this for your driver application, you can set it for your office staff application, you can set it for your shop application. They're all separate. Again, we want to give you the full control to make your application your application. One of the things I wanted to point out The other screen over here is parking lot. It's something we use in our safety meetings. If anybody has any questions, just put your hand up. We'll identify it and put it in the parking lot. We'll get to the questions later. There's an awful lot of information that we're going to give to you, but we don't want to ignore any thoughts. So if you have a question, either pass a note or just put your hand up and we'll put it on there and we'll get back to it, because we do have time set for question and answers. So this is how, and this is the first look inside a truck rate. This is what the sensitive information page would be like, and it's basically some of the things that were identified to us and put separately. The lawyer, I was dealing with Dan, and Dan said, Dirk, asking about emergency contact or driving record or social insurance number on a driver is pretty good questions, but they don't work for you yet. They're an applicant. What are you going to do with that data? So with PIPEDA and to be compliant, it's when you ask the questions. So collecting data on emergency contact is one of the things you identify. Again, we're not telling you what to do. The last screenshot that I showed you, you can control how your application is built. We're just pointing out why we did this. So here is what the driver screenshot, and this is now inside TruckRate. So everything instantly is in your database. And I said it earlier, and I want to reiterate, and you'll see the word instance in your glossary. Each fleet has their own instance. Each fleet has their own database. They are all separate. They don't cross. Again, we're right inside, and here's Johnny Rocket. He quickly identified. New clicker. At quick view, Johnny Rocket is a candidate. He's a driver. I have a place to upload his photo. This is his general information. And then down here, DQ file. Again, I appreciate that with the size of the room, we can't close in. Some of the left nav bar, we will show you a little closer in a few slides later. Driver now gets presented to do his 10-year employment history. Again, everywhere we have the interrogation point. If the driver doesn't know what he's meant to be doing there, he can click on it to see what this means. We also are sensitive that drivers may not want to do it all right now, may not have the time to do it all right now. So if they click and they haven't completed the 10 years, we'll warn them and tell them they haven't done the 10 years. They can go back, they can continue through the application, because we already know who they are. They're already in your system. And the bottom one says finish later, recruiting will be notified. And what will happen is you'll get a second email saying that Johnny Rocket is online and would like you to create him an access point. An access point is basically where they would log in and continue filling out that application at their convenience. This is page 3, the qualifications. Again, it's the presentation that gets to the driver. It's clean. The data coming back to you is clean, fully bilingual. And that's basically the roll through of what he would be saying. The system is personalized everywhere. The thank you message automatically picks up who he is, identifies who your fleet is, what he's applied for. Also, will quickly identify the recruiter that's assigned to that position, so if they want an email or contact. Digital signature would be here, and this application is ready for processing. I think we're all familiar with this. Somebody takes a call from a driver, writes down a bit of information. If we have a chance to call them, we get back to them when we can. If we don't lose the paper, if we remember why they called, because sometimes it doesn't say looking for work. It's amazing how much data is on this page. If you're using software, how much information you already have. 15 to 20 pages to do an onboarding process with the driver. Is that about right? Maybe a little higher, a little lower, depending on the size of your fleet. You've got your applications, you've got the annual, or the certificate of violations, the preliminary hours of service. Every page the driver's filling out, he's writing his name, he's writing his phone number, possibly his driver's license number. Our system generates all the documents automatically. So right here, we could put Tony on every single page in your system. We can put his city in there, and again, it's editable once you're in there. Phone number on every single page. When he first made contact. That data is very valuable to your system. One of the things that we identified, we were running spreadsheets tracking recruiting costs, tracking advertising costs. Did we remember to call this person? Is anybody else in our company, has this guy applied with us before? And this little blue piece of paper that we're looking at doesn't do that for us. Our phone-in people, and this would be something available to your, anybody that uses TruckRate, but this would be the first contact of a driver calling in. So if your reception, your recruiting would start, what's highlighted in red is required and anything else is a bonus at the first point of contact. Some companies, and we do, we capture everything in red, and then when we pass the call on to one of our recruiters, the recruiter's automatically got this candidate on their dashboard, and you don't have to ask any question twice that you've asked a driver. Contact information, the notes, so this guy has a new Peterbilt, goes right into his driver file. You can assign it to a recruiter, you can assign it to a recruiting department. Again, this person's a candidate. You may quickly identify that this person's not qualified, and you can change that status right away. Expectations is something that we've put in. Again, point of contact is one place for the expectations, or the driver could be presented the expectations. How would he like to be got a hold of? When is he currently working? When are they available? Are they looking for full-time, long haul, cross-border? And down here is create an access point. And what that means is anybody that's taken this information can now say, we want to know more about you. We're going to present you with an application. We're not going to fax it to you. We're not going to email it to you. We're going to send you a log into the system. So this is Johnny getting his access point into your software, into TruckRate. Again, it's branded with your fleet information, message from your fleet owner, and then it also identifies the recruiters, what time. All of this is pre-put in the system, and this emails are auto-generated.